What's up, everybody? It's Greg with Delta, and this is the Be the Difference podcast. This podcast is all about making you a better person in your life and in your business with coaching on sales, leadership, mindset, marketing, everything under the sun when it comes to being an entrepreneur. And we bring on guest speakers. Today, I've got the honor and pleasure of welcoming my good buddy back to talk to me again, Mr. Dustin Wylie. Dustin, how you doing, brother?
Doing good, bro. Dude, your intro is ridiculous. I got to step my game up.
My intro has been honed over a long time, so I can say this shit in my sleep. You get used to saying it so often, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I appreciate the compliment. So, for those of you who don't know who Dustin is, Dustin Wylie is the CEO of Viking Financial Group, CMO of Spectrum Planning Group. He's a husband of 10 years and father to 2 girls. He started from absolutely nothing while learning about financial services and building his brand. While he was doing that, he was underneath sinks, changing toilets, crawling under houses, doing all kinds of construction work. He lives in southern Oklahoma, and in 3 years, he took his business from negative 8,000 to 7 figures and counting. And I can tell you this because I was there when he first started the business. I knew him when he started. So it's a pleasure having you on here, man.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you had me on because honestly, you're the reason why I'm not back. You are the reason why I'm not back in the oil field, why I'm not doing construction, why I'm not plumbing. If you guys don't know, Greg, he worked for an IMO. He left because they were doing screwy stuff. He joined a new IMO. I was about to join that old IMO. I was literally signing my paperwork. I was 2 minutes from becoming part of that IMO. I was like, hey, just do a little bit more due diligence. Went to YouTube, looked up that IMO, saw this guy named Greg. He's loud and proud. I like it. I mean, I'm that football type guy. So, like, if you're a coach and you're yelling at me and you're giving me negative reinforcement, that's how I work. I don't like positive reinforcement. So, okay, if this guy Greg is saying that place sucks, this place may not be for you, but hey, who knows? He put his phone number up on the YouTube video, and I was like, I'm gonna call this guy. Called him, and he's like, bro, I'm not gonna tell you what to do, but this is gonna be your first 3 months. You're gonna spend every dollar that you have on leads. They're gonna cuss you out. The ones that you do close, you're gonna get a charge back because somebody in the company is going to also replace your business. And I was like, why would I want to do that? Yeah, I think he's full of it, but dude, he is being very brutally honest. I'm like, okay. The next day, I was like, dude, how can I be part of your organization? He goes, let me get you in touch a contract and let's get this thing going. Like, as stupid as that sounds, that one decision completely changed the direction of my life because I would have been that statistic that you're talking about where you show up, you spend up $6,000, you get 2 credit cards, you max those out, you get crappy leads. I mean, right now that company's being sued for how they're doing their leads. They're meddling evil people, and I am the anti that IMO. I won't say names. If you want to say the names, you can say it.
Yeah.
But no, man, I
It's Family
appreciate
First
you.
Life. Which I'm fine with saying. Come at me,
That's
Sean.
it. That's it. So, man, I appreciate you saving me from that.
Yeah, man. It was and there was dude, I remember that time frame. That was a fucking wild time, to be honest. Because I had left and I had just had a massive month, and so everyone was already contacting me anyways. And so when they found out I was leaving right after it, they were like, "What the hell is going on?" And I was taking phone calls from sun up, literally from the time that I woke up until I went to bed. It was like every 15 minutes I was on the phone with somebody new, and it did not stop. And I was like that for like 3 months, just straight every single day. It got monotonous. It got really old. That's why I started recording the podcast again and just trying to put information out because so many people were calling asking questions. I was like, hey, go check the podcast. Hey, go check the go check the podcast. So yeah, man, that was a wild time.
It was. I learned a lot in that time. I learned a lot about screwiness, IMOs. At the time I knew nothing about insurance. Like, we'll save that for another time.
Yeah.
Whenever I do my intro, I have a pretty long, boring spiel to talk about.
Okay. That's you know what? I feel like we'll probably do multiple episodes anyways. So just to chat. So talk to me. You had a very unique um start, right? Because you were trying to do something because you saw what leads were doing and you saw the cost of them and you were just like, nah, I'm not paying for that shit. Like, I'd rather just generate myself. And so you took a completely different path, which I've told people, hey, you can do. You just have to put in the works. Talk a little bit about what got you started and how you were able to develop your own lead system through transparent communication and marketing.
Yeah, so, like, when I first started, the way I got into life insurance and investments in general is, like, I was plumbing, had a couple heat strokes, played football for 14 years, so, like, my brain practically just shuts off whenever it wants to, so, like, if I start drooling, that's the problem, just so you guys I was just like, "What can I do that's not outside?" Like, I wanna be around when my kids go to sports. I wanna be around, like, period. I don't wanna die at 40 years old from, like, a stroke. So, I looked up top 10 high-paying jobs on social media, on TikTok, of all things. Like, why who's gonna go get their future career advice from TikTok? That was me. I went on and I saw these FFL agents saying, "How much money did you make last month?" 20 grand. "How much money did you make last month?" 150 grand. I was like, "These guys are so full of crap." But you know what? I'm gonna do it anyway. So I got started 75 hard. I was about to finish my third year of college to get my BBA, so I was gonna have a degree anyway. But I was like, start 75 hard. This is going to push me into doing what I want. Like, it's gonna force me to do it.
Yeah.
My problem is I didn't have self-respect, and I still kinda don't. Like, if someone tells me to do something, I don't wanna let them down, but if I tell myself to do something, I won't do it. Like, go for a 5-mile jog, not doing it. If somebody's like, "Go for a 5-mile jog, you pansy, I don't care if there's 10 foot of snow, I'm going for a 10-mile jog."
Yeah.
Anyway, I say all that to say I went and got in 10 days from starting 75 hard, I got my insurance license, got contract with you guys, and I thought right off the bat, I was like, "Leads are 60 bucks a pop, and you're telling me all these guys are having such great, like, I'm calling my first lead, and within 2 hours, I'm making a sale, making 4 grand. That's awesome." So I went and I spent 3 grand on leads, and they were supposed to be the best leads there were. I called every one of them, triple dialed them, I did everything you're supposed to do. I memorized the script. So this just isn't working. Like, I don't like that I'm having to convince people. How can I not convince people? So
Mhm.
there's one thing that Rob Bailey always talks about. I'm in a CCV group. He's like, if you have a marketing brain and you think, what outcome do I want and how do I reverse engineer to get that outcome? And I thought that was just a common sense thing. So I thought if I want people to message me and say, hey, I love your transparency. I can tell that you're a real person. I want to do business with you. How do I do that? Okay, get on social media, talk about everything openly, no call to action. Just give people all the free stuff that other people charge for. Like, you sit down with a financial advisor, what's the 10 things they're going to tell them? Give that away for free. Alex Hormozy talks about it all the time. Like, there's the jab, 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 right hook. He's like, dude, I just jab. There is no right hook. I will jab you to death until you just reach out. And to me, that is the best lead because you didn't tell them, go to my bio. You didn't tell them anything. They just came in. They're fully aware of what they're getting themselves into.
Mhm.
Let's say 10 days of 75 hard, got my license, got contracted, bought the leads. None of them converted. I was knocking on doors. I would go to businesses locally. I went to a couple PNC home and auto offices, talked to them, said, hey, do you have a life agent? No. So I did everything. I did the doors, the leads, and then I was like, social media, all three things at once. The leads didn't work. The knocking on doors got me one policy and it charged back. The second policy stayed on the books and I made nothing. I made like 400 bucks. So I'm a year into the business, 9 months of social media marketing, and I have 364 bucks left in my name. Now, granted, all that money came from loans. Went to the SBA. I got 19 grand in loans. I told my wife, hey, when this money runs out, I tried. I tried my entrepreneur journey. Didn't work. I'll go back to work. I'll shut my mouth for the rest of my life. I had $364 in my bank account. I woke up the next day and I had over 750 messages on my TikTok and my Instagram overnight. I was like, I don't know what this is. Talked to my wife. I don't know what this is, but you're probably not going to see me for the next 2 days. So I plugged my phone into my charger right next to me and I just went to town. I mean, I knew kind of what I was talking about, but I always said, like, hey, I think this, but let me go check. Hey, I think this. So you don't have to have all the knowledge to be great and to be able to market. Like, just tell people what you know, find mentors that know what they're talking about that you trust and get that information. So 9 months in the business, I even put my application in at my old job the night before. That's how crazy it is. Like, it sounds like a lie, too good to be true. Halliburton, you can look it up. Halliburton's like the second biggest oil company in the US. Put my application in the night before, woke up, had all that business. So I went from negative $8,000 to my first year of making money, 40 grand. Last year, I won't say how much because we're in the middle of doing our taxes, but it's seven figures. And then this year, since I partnered with a pretty big partner, we're looking at 12 to 15 million of profit this year. And long-term goals, just to kind of wrap it up, we're looking at like a $100 million of profit in the next 5 years. So big goals. And it all started with one, you rescuing me from FFL. And then two, everyone's like, oh, he Greg always talks about 75 hard. He just cares about the fitness. He's in the military. Hoorah. I was like, dude, that did it for me. Here I am,
I'm
and it's
telling
working.
you, it's a fucking spiritual journey.
It is.
It
Yep.
is a
Changed my
spiritual
life.
journey. People just don't understand. It had nothing to do. It has actually nothing to do with fitness for me. Nothing to do
Yep.
with my physical body. Everything to do with my mind. Everything to do with being spiritual alignment. Um, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like people just don't. You don't. If you've done 75 hard, you know. If you've truly done it, if you've actually done it, you know. If you haven't done it and you think it's a physical fitness challenge, I'm telling you, reach out to Dustin. Reach out to me. I'm telling you, like I can tell you shit that's happened in my life that's just like it's almost like coincidences or serendipity or like all those things, happenstance, all those wonderful things. They happen more in 75 hard because you're like it like working in your purpose almost. It's crazy.
Yep.
And it just something as simple as doing these 5 tasks every day and just being very consistent with it and disciplined, how it changes and your mindset, it changes your faith in yourself, which gives you more ability. Wild. But dude, that is fantastic. I love hearing your I even loved hearing your journey whenever you first started to get traction on social media because it took you so long, but then you just blew up. It was like you were just pumping into this pipeline and the pipe just finally burst and you had no idea when or how it was going to burst, but it did. And when it did, it burst massively. And seeing that seeing that happen, I was like, that's incredible, man. That's just an incredible story of massive success, of just persistence, determination, discipline, not giving up, the rags to riches kind of story of somebody that's just put in the damn work for months, bro, for months with no return. And then finally, like most people just don't have that. They don't have that conviction or that belief or faith in themselves. So that alone is awesome. Um, I assume you have you still been selling or off of that, and then also were you didn't you? I heard I don't know, so you can tell me, you can fill me in. I heard that you basically started to sell those leads, and you started like market for another person, and they're paying you to sell those leads to them.
Yes and no. So
Okay.
I still do business every now and then just to keep my income coming in because
Yeah.
whenever you partner with people and you have them run your business for you, I don't sell leads just to kind of get that off the plate. Whenever I run businesses with other people and we do splits, like say I bring a lead in, a client wants to meet with me, I'll get on the call. But for the most part, I have advisors that come in, close the deal. I get a 50 split, they get a 50 split. It's a great deal. My leads, like I've talked to people that have sold leads before, and they said if I was to sell your lead, it'd be about $1,200 a pop. And anyone who's bought leads, they know that's pretty hefty. Like I've seen $400, and that was a pretty hefty ticket. But um, I partnered with a guy. I don't know if you know who he is. I don't want to say his name because he told me not to kind of put his name out there. He's a really high net worth client type of guy, white glove service. He
Uh,
does like $2 million of premium a month of target premium.
mhm.
And he's like, hey, I've always wanted to build a larger organization again, but I had AFib. My heart kind of shut down on me whenever I did it the first place 'cause I was just stressed out. It was just me. But now that I have you and you want to be the face of a company, do you want to do this thing? Said, sure. Okay. He's like, well, now you need to turn over your leads. I was like, don't think I can do that. I don't trust a single soul with what I built, what I put blood, sweat, and tears in 9 months of, I call it mental illness. Like I would post every day, 2 stories a day, jump on people's lives calls, listen to people, like 14 to 16 hours a day. My life was about this. And you want me to turn it over to people that like they're lazy, they don't listen to what you say. Like, I'm not going to do that. Finally, I turned him over to one person, a guy who was an old Northwestern Mutual guy. Told me a story about how, his grandpa got screwed over the cash value life insurance, so he's not gonna do that to people. Turned over the leads. Man, that guy crushed. He ethically wrote $200,000 a target in 1 week. I was like, "Okay, that's all you had to do." So I turned over my leads to him and a couple other guys. They basically run the calls if the client needs me on for just like a back pat of like, "Hey, this is my guy. Don't think that I sold your lead." We do that, but no, I keep everything in house. Spectrum Planning Group, as you brought up, that's the company we came up with, and you'll laugh because the reason why we came up with Spectrum Planning Group is because we're kind of retarded. So we're on the spectrum. So that's literally the reason why we called it Spectrum Planning Group.
I
That's
like
how
that.
lost we are.
That's dope. I like that. Um, so So you've had a wild journey since you and I were working together a little bit. You were just fucking like just doing TikToks, which is great, man. You crushed that. Um, now that you're with a partnership and you have this entire machine that you have built, what's you talked about the future of like looking to like $100 million net worth. What's the transition next? Are you looking to expand your marketing presence? Are you just continuing to do the same thing and just like, bringing on more advisors?
A little bit of both. So one of the value adds in my company is that, yeah, I love the thumbs up
Yeah.
emoji. One value add we have is, since I'm pretty good at what I do with the social media marketing, if someone comes in and they're like, "Hey, I don't want to buy leads. I want to create that lead flow machine like you guys have." If they're okay with taking a little bit less commission, because it takes me so much time and effort on these people, I have to watch their reels. I have to kind of tell them why they're doing things wrong. Like, I babysit everyone. They can come on and I will teach them how to do social media marketing exactly how I do it. We can do that. Or two, we're just hiring agencies, because a lot of people in the comp world, and you're out of this, so I can talk about it now. Um, if you go to WFG, FFL, they're always going to push comp. Like
Mhm.
FFL, 145% comp. 145% of what? Americo, the worst, one of the worst insurance companies there are. WFG, they don't talk about comp. What they don't tell you is you're capped at 55%. Like, they have Transamerica where they make 155% comp, but they only pay out 65 at the max. So they're keeping 90 points of override. And then these guys that are drones within that company say, well, they give bonuses. Your bonuses come from a 90% override that you're not capturing. Is WFG doing your books? Are they giving you free leads? Are they providing training? If they're not doing any of that, why are they overriding you? So I say all that to say, if you're an agency and you're like, I just want the comp, we are paying people up to the limits on comp. So like, we have a contract with one carrier, it's like 150%. If you come in, all you want's the contract, we'll give you 130. Like, that's unheard of. An actual 130% comp. Someone comes in like, hey, I want leads. If they're a really good advisor and I can vet them that they can run my leads the right way, we'll bring them in at 80%, and then we'll do splits on the. So we have all different types of like intro plans. If you want to come in, like I said, do the social media, we'll do that. If you just want comp, you can do that. If you want to come in and actually use all of our services, there's another comp. So like in-house, we have 3 CPAs, a full CPA firm on the side.
Mhm.
We have a tax and estate attorney. We have a trust building software. We have a crypto CPA. So like, anything to do with the dollar bill, we offer, and you can have that offering. You can make your business that much more sticky. Because if you come in and you sell somebody a term policy, they'll probably go cancel it. But if you sell them a term policy, you have an estate planning package to where you set up, that if they die, their kids get this. Like, you did everything within their financial plan, why would they leave you? So that's what we're offering.
That makes a lot of sense. Actually, that's a lot of value. I can see how that make your business a lot stickier.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We call it the family office of family offices.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And it gives people options, because I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges with insurance agents, right? Is they want their cake and they want to eat it too. They want the high comp and they want to get lead support and they want great training and they want the best support ever. And it's like, dude, you can't have it all. And
No,
I still get questions. I get questions for people all the time. They're like, hey, what's the best IMO? Like, there is no best IMO. It doesn't exist.
nope,
What's your value set? What do you and like, well, what would you recommend? Well, you're not me. I'm not you. I don't know what you want. Like, that's a fucking loaded question, bro. I don't know what to tell you. Do your research, find a place that has what you're looking for, and work with people that have the same values as you. That you're like, I want to work with these people and I want to go into the future together, right? If you can find that, then awesome. It doesn't matter if you do that in a captive company. It really doesn't.
no,
What matters is your sanity while you're doing this, because this is going to be a difficult journey no matter where you're at. And I'd rather be with somewhere where I enjoy the journey and I'm making money, because you can make money. I don't care if you're captive or if you're an IMO, you can make money. You can make good money, as long as you follow their systems, right? So
mhm,
I like that you guys have that, because it's a spin on the concept that most agents come in and they want so much. So it's like, okay, so what's more important to you? Where are you prioritizing what you want, right? Agent, do you want to have just high comp and you want to do everything yourself? We can do that. We can probably give you the highest comp that you're going to get. Do you need a lot of hand holding? Perfect, but you're going to drop in comp. And then as you weed out of that, maybe we'll raise you in comp or whatever, right?
Yep.
As you get better and as you need less support. So I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, we weren't going to do it at first, but the more we looked at it, we're like, there's so many agencies out there, and now with the whole WFG debacle, like WFG is about to go down a huge rabbit hole. Same with FFL, like they're getting sued out the wazoo. With all this happening, if there's actual agencies out there, say one guy has 50 agents and 20 of them are writing, and they just want to go somewhere else. They want the contracts, they still do the training themselves, they still do like if they want to handle that, come over. You get all the support in the world. If you want less comp, you get no support, just like you said. To me, is like why limit ourselves if we're looking for $100 million annual earning in 5 years? That's the way to do it. Is to just accept everyone, but at the same time, man, I am strict. If I see someone write a policy for someone and it's $100 a month and their death benefit is $1 million and they're looking for cash value, I will straight up tell them, cancel this policy, go rewrite it, or you just lose your lot. Like you will not have any contracts with us. I'm the type of person that if you want to do things right, if you want the comp, if you want the training, the right training, not just like I won't even get into that. If you want the right stuff, we have that. And I will bleed to get you what you want, to get you the training you want, to get the products that you want, but you got to give it back. Like there's one thing if you go to my recruiting link at the
Mhm.
very, very end, my last question is Spectrum Planning Group has unreasonable expectations for their agents. Do you still want to apply? If they say yes and we go to that meeting, you pretty much just signed up for boot camp, didn't know it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
I
that's
actually
it.
like that. I have a vision and a goal that I want to do in the industry. It's kind of like part of the industry, uh, but to benefit the industry, and I think it's needed. And it's creating an academy, and so that would like a I'm talking boot camp style, bro. I'm talking like fucking Hell Week and SEALs, but for sales, it
Yep.
just fucking crushed them. But teach them the right ethical way to do business, to
Yep.
take care of families, right?
Yep.
Um the the as you're talking about doing like putting in the right policies. That actually made me think there was I've been getting contacted a lot more by family first agents recently. And one of them contacted me recently and said that he was like so disgusted with like the things they were doing in the office. And one of the things he specifically told me was like, he's like, I walked in the office one day and there were agents that had clients on the phone that were doing phone sales. And they were telling the clients that they would get 14% returns on the IUL. And
Dude.
and it was just
Oh,
like, and how is it to outpace the market and saying, and he was like, dude, he's like, that's like bordering unethical. I was like, no, that's bordering illegal. That's
illegal.
definitely unethical. Like
Yep.
that's fucking illegal.
Yeah. I
Let's
mean,
be real.
you tell me of a safe investment that has no downside risk that beats the market. Why would Warren Buffett have $1 in S&P 500? Why would he have
Exactly.
$1 in Apple? It would not happen.
Yeah.
Elon Musk could double his net worth in 5 years. Rule of 72, 14 by 5, that's about 70%. Like he would not have his money anywhere. The dude would be worth what, $2 trillion in 8 years? Doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
Yeah. It doesn't exist. So it's
It
like
doesn't exist.
so here's the thing is that when these companies that are doing this and here's the thing, I don't think that this is coming from the top, right? I don't think they're coming down saying, hey, say this to clients, right? But they don't have any fucking oversight on what's being said at every single, and there's so many levels deep that you have these agents coming on and they're going to do anything for a fucking sale. They learn from the wrong people in that organization that don't know how to do it, and then they come out spouting some bullshit, and they're a representative of said company, right? And when you have that, it's a dangerous fucking mix, especially when you have a company that's as large as either WFG or FFL. You have a company that's that size in this industry doing that, it gives a bad name to insurance agents across the entire industry, right?
Yep. And that's one thing we're digging a hole. We are digging ourselves out of a hole because of these people. I have 2 recorded trainings from carriers that I won't say their name because they're possibly gonna go to class action soon, but they talked about an annuity that averaged 22% return. I have another carrier that said you should always write level on your IULs. And if someone wants to put $250 a month, do $250,000 of death benefit. If they put in $1,000 a month, do $1,000,000 of death benefit. Like they just did multiples. They never taught why you should do a certain death benefit, what option B is, flexibility versus no flexibility in the policy. This is a carrier coming in and telling you to do that. And I didn't record it, but I've had personal conversations with some carriers I used to use that I was the number one for 6 months straight. I was the number one agent in that entire life insurance company. And whenever I got on a call with one of their people, they were like, no, I would always do level and I would always give a little bit of flexibility and never use term riders. One, flexibility kills a policy. Two, level kills a policy. Three, term riders make the cost of insurance cheaper. So she pretty much just told me the complete opposite of what you're supposed to do. Once I heard that, I was like, okay, Mr. Partner, I almost said his name. Mr. Partner, let's go do business. Let's go to the double A rated carriers and you teach me everything you know, and I'm going to teach everything you just taught me. Like I'm done with this industry. I'm done with it.
Uh, dude, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. It's crazy what all goes on in this industry. And so, for those of you listening, watch, if you watch any of my lives that I do with Zach, now you wonder why I get out there and I get so heated about the bullshit that I say in this industry because it's shit like this. It's like, how in the hell are people okay with this? They shouldn't be. Right. And there should be more people there. And that's what I'm disappointed in, to be honest. There's not more people standing up and saying something. Right. That's what pisses me off. And that means that there's across the board, most people are unethically more in the unethically gray area.
Yep.
And they're fine with that. And that's not okay to me. Like,
No, if I could sit in a room with Sean Mike, Patrick Bet David, and Ed Milet and have a conversation with them and then watch them afterwards do or not do, like Ed Milet, he's a WFG, probably the biggest dog over there. Patrick Bet David, kind of the biggest dog over at PHP, even though they kind of did a sell. Mike runs the whole FFL scheme. If I could sit down and tell them what their agents are doing and they didn't fix it, bro, I would blast them for the rest of my life. But if they did right, it would completely like wash their sins in my eyes. But I
yeah,
don't feel like any of them care because their paychecks coming in.
yeah,
Patrick Bet David is ultra rich now because he built up PHP doing the right thing, people helping people, but now not even close. Like I don't replace policies unless I have to, but I have replaced so many policies from WFG and PHP. The worst one I've done so far, a family of six, they put $160,000 total between six policies into Transamerica. 32 days later, after the free look period, they contacted me to look them over. Every dollar went to insurance. They had five zeros in a row. So the next was that $750,000 that they were going to put into this policy was going to disappear, or 650. Or wait, yeah, anyways, a lot of money. Almost
yeah,
$1,000,000 were going to go into these policies for strictly cash value growth, strictly, and they were going to burn all that money. So I saved them from wasting $1,000,000. But the fact that a Transamerica WFG agent that was a friend of a friend of a friend wrote these policies and probably made Transamerica about $90,000, probably made his entire income the year before in one household, and I
yeah,
had to go replace it, and they couldn't get any of their money back like that. It's what drives me, but it's what makes me wanna go back to working a 9 to 5 job. It's disgusting, and I see why people in the industry age so fast because it's just like, how long can you bypass and not do anything about it before you finally just explode? I mean, it's tough for me.
yeah. Well, but what it does also is that it makes it to where that when you do have people that the agents that come work with you and they see the difference, they're like, dude, I'm fucking staying here. There's no way I'm leaving. Like there's nobody that can go to them and be like, hey, I'll offer you this, and there's nothing in the world they can offer because they know that, hey, these other organizations, this is what it comes with, is this
Yep,
kind of shenanigans and tomfoolery and bullshit that's going on.
yep,
So, because here's the thing, you if you are, and this is why I think a lot of people don't realize either. If you're in an organization, you're like, but I'm clean, but I'm okay. I don't do this stuff. You think that every single agent that you're bringing on isn't talking to other people, isn't talking to going to the left and going to the right and going to all these different hierarchies and being like, oh man, I saw you on the podcast. Hey, how'd you do that? Hey, blah, 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 and getting information and then possibly Also, writing business in the same way and just not saying anything to you because they don't tell you every friggin' thing that goes through their brain. I guarantee you that shit is happening. And guess what? Guess who's liable? You are as the upline.
Yep.
1,000%.
Yeah. To me, if you can write a policy 100% correct, no one can beat it. So why not write a policy that no one can beat? It can't be replaced. Now you don't have to worry about chargebacks. Your persistency goes up. There's no lies. You don't have to memorize your lies. There's not a script of like, oh, the reason why we wrote 10 times the guideline annual premium is because of this. Like, you just know what you know. If you do it right all the time, you never have to remember. Like my wife tells me all the time, I know that you don't lie because you tell me the same story 5 times a year, word for word. And I'm like, I think that's kinda like my brain injury, but at least you're
Yeah,
telling me that all my, stories line up. But to me, it's just that. If you can be honest and transparent, you don't have to remember being a shitbag.
exactly. Because it's you're always doing things the exact same way. So you'd be like, hey, or maybe you don't remember that specific family because it's been so long and you've written so many families, but you're like, I know how I do every single policy, and this is how I did it. Like, boom,
Uh-huh.
boom, boom. This is what I do with everybody because it's the right ethical way. No, yeah, that makes complete sense.
Yep.
So,
Last night I woke up at midnight and I got a message saying, "Hey, I'm doing $400 a month in my policy. Can I up it?" And I immediately knew no. I was like, "No, you can't." And he goes, "Well, why?" I was like, "Remember we wrote this for max accumulation $400 a month." He looked up his policy and it was right. $4,800 of contribution he could put in per year. That's exactly what you just said. Like that was I wrote that policy 13 months ago, but I didn't have to think twice. I just knew.
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And that's how it should be. You're right. That's
Yep.
you're absolutely right. That's how it should be. So, how's your 75 hard journey going now? You on the 75 hard now?
So 14 months ago, I went into the gym. I had 20 minutes to work out. I got under a squat rack, didn't put a belt on, threw 300 pounds on. On about my fourth rep, I felt like a burn in my lower back, and I was like, whatever, it'll work out. The next squat, I heard a squish and I dropped the weight. Well, anyways, I twisted my L5 about 3 millimeters and almost severed my spine. So I couldn't walk for like 2 weeks. Couldn't work out for almost 6 months, and I gained a lot of weight. Like, I was the same weight, 260 pounds, but
Mhm.
it completely transferred from kind of muscle to almost no muscle.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not supposed to be working out till March 31st, but for the last 2 months, since I went and met with Andy Elliott and kinda joined his brotherhood, I was like, "Screw it." Like, this dude's like, "Hey, get your fitness in check. You're gonna feel like yourself again. You're gonna feel like that young dude with piss and vinegar. Just do it safely." I said, "Okay." So I did, and it hurt at first, but I feel better now. I won't really do 75 hard because I travel so much. I'm just a pansy. Like, I don't wanna walk the airport for 45 minutes,
I've
once
done
a
that
month.
before, by the way.
Yeah, and I'm just not a fan. I like to sit still, not breathe hard. I don't like the traffic, the little carts coming by and honking at you. So I
Yeah.
probably won't do 75 hard, but one thing that and I go back to, Rob Bailey again. Rob Bailey said, "Hey, Andy Frisella told me you don't need this because you already have these few things in line, non-negotiables. You build your non-negotiables." So what 75 hard taught me, which is like you don't need 75 hard, have non-negotiables. I will work out every day, or I will work out 6 days a week.
Mhm.
I will watch what goes into my mouth. I may have a cheat meal every 3 or 4 days, maybe. If you can just have non-negotiables, you don't need 75 hard, but what 75 hard does is it checks you like, "Hey, are you sure you know what you're doing? Are you sure you're reading 10 pages? Are you sure you're drinking your gallon?" So, I'll do once a year, I'll do it just to prove to myself that I can do it again.
Mhm.
I will say I've only truly done it once. At day 60, I forgot to take a picture. Another time, day 14, I didn't even think about it. I took a big piece of cake, took a big bite of it, and I was like, "Oh," but right as I swallowed it, I was like, "Oh, no." I was on 75 hard and I forgot. So, like, I've only technically done it once, and I'll tell you that. But the
Yeah.
one time I did it, like you said, you truly know what 75 hard's supposed to do to you. All it did for me is, like, whenever I was 17 or 18 years old, I worked harder than anybody there was. I did not eat crap. I was a straight edge type person, but I had nothing like, I had no money. I didn't have a job that paid me well. I wasn't an entrepreneur. Now that I can just go back and be that same person, be diligent, do exactly what I'm supposed to do, it's easy because it's what I used to do. And
Mhm.
I thought, like, what made me so good at what I did when I was young? I just didn't listen to anyone. I did exactly what I thought was right, and I did it consistently. Well, now that I do that every single day, like, my business shows that it works. Um, so I said that before that I'm like, I think it's because I played football for 14 years. I like negative. I like someone to tell me, "You're trash. You suck. Do this differently." If you give me a pat on the back, like I genuinely want to throw up in my mouth. So to do that, to be part of Andy Elliott's group, to be part of Arte, to be part of CCV, like I have to surround myself with people that are doing better because I'm negatively going to tell myself that guy's not any better than me. Why can't I be better than him? Stop being a pansy, beat him. And that's what I and that's just kind of how things work. Like at first when you did your podcast, I was like, man, Greg is so good at his delivery. His first 30 seconds is very consistent, concise. There's no pauses. Like I want to be like that. Alex Hermosi he never took a breath, didn't pause. I still do. Everything he put out was just gold all the time. And I was like,
Mm.
man, I got to get to that point. And that's what I'm always doing is chasing the next thing. Will I ever beat Alex Hermosi? Honestly, no. Will I ever beat Andy Frisella? No. Will I ever beat Andy Elliott? No. But as long as I have a bigger fish to chase, it's like being in a mile relay or a mile run. If you're up front, it's hard to set a pace. But if you're following someone to set a pace, you know when it's time to get to kick it in and beat that person. And
Yeah.
that's I guess it's just the athlete in me, but that's how I function.
No, I like thinking about it like that as well. I have people in my life that I'm chasing as well, and things that I'm looking at. So I'm trying to do like I've been watching a lot of Ed Milet speeches lately because I got picked up to go speak in Cambridge in the UK, and
Nice.
so I'm going to go speak on stage there this summer in August, and I'm like I'm going to be an international speaker. Fuck yeah! So I'm excited about it, but I'm like I want to make sure that when I get on that stage that I'm like as captivating as fucking Ed Milet. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like one of
Yep.
the top speakers in the world. So that's all I just fucking watching. It's like watching game day footage and just being like, I can get better. I can get better. And I went and spoke at stage at in Chicago earlier this month. And when I got done, I had so many people come up to me and they're like, dude, you were like, you have a Tony Robbins air about you, like just the way that you talk and the way that you speak and hold yourself. I had so many people like literally they'd see me and they like run across the room. They're like, oh my God, I loved your talk, blah, 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 and just start like ambushing me. So I was like, okay, I'm on the right track, but I got still got a ways to go. So I'm the same exact way, but in things that I'm chasing, which is like I'm trying to do stage speaking and I want to grow the podcast more, etc. So
Yep.
makes complete sense. I would say for 75 hard, um, I have found, and this is just me, I think this is the military in me, that when I'm on it, I don't even think about I don't even think about doing my 2 workouts. I just do them. I don't even think about my reading. I just do it. I don't even think about the diet or like the no alcohol. But a second I like come off of it and I'm not tracking every single day, then that's when I'm like, meh, I'm not going to work out today. Meh, I'll read tomorrow. I'll read 20 pages tomorrow, right? And then I start on that slippery slope. And so this is my 5th time doing 75 hard. I'm on day 61, I think, right now,
Yeah.
as I started at the beginning of the year. Um, and I've gotten to the point where, like I'm just going to keep doing it. I'm just going to do it constantly because I'm naturally a lazy motherfucker. Like I just want to I want to relax. I would love to sit on the fucking couch and watch Netflix and stick my hand in a Cheetos bag and just fucking all day long. I would be cool with that. But in order to fight that instinct of like what I normally want to do, I have to like go to the extreme. I have to go to the other opposite extreme in order to stay at least somewhat consistent with all my stuff. So
Yep. And they always say it's a self-respect thing, but to me, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I respect myself, but holy crap, if I don't have guidelines, I'm lazy. Like you said, you said this once before, and I think you said it like 2 years ago, but it stuck in my mind. You said you're the biggest sucker for cheeseburgers. I'd have to second guess that and say I am, but like, yeah, I would love to eat 10 cheeseburgers a day, lay back and just watch TV. I'd
oh,
love it. I'd
bro.
love to watch, and I'm a nerd. Like I'll watch the Harry Potter series, all the um Lord of the Rings, I'll watch them all in a week. Like I will sit
Yeah,
there and just watch, binge.
yeah.
But there's like a bigger purpose you got to go for. Like whenever I was first starting, my bigger purpose was like, don't be a shady piece of crap and be a person that your kids can look up to. So that's one thing that Ed Milet, funny enough, said. You tell your kids you can be anything you want, and then they look at you and say, "But why aren't you?"
Mm.
Bro, that 15-second reel blew my mind. I was like, "I'm a piece of you know what." I tell my kids, you can go to college, you can be a nurse, you can go do this, do that. Like everything you're talking about, you can do it. Well, how come you're plumbing? How come you're making $320 a week? Like I used to have over here on my wall a pin that had $320 like in 20s stuck to the wall. And that was my motivation when I walked out of my office every day. Like, did I do enough to justify making more than that 320 bucks? Go sit back down and make more content. But yeah, just knowing my kids were looking up to me and Andy Elliott said this again. He made a reel like 2 days ago. He said, if you're not being the person your kids can look up to, they're going to look up to another man. And bro, does that hit hard too? When
That,
you
that,
have
that hits
kids
hard for a dad. That hits
and you
hard
know
for a
they're
dad.
looking up to another person, like a coach, a teacher, which most people do. They have idols. But if you're not their idol, holy crap. Could you look up in 10 years and imagine what you feel like knowing they idled someone else? That's not
Yeah,
me. It's not gonna happen.
dude, that hits deep for a dad.
It does.
That hits in the feels.
Yeah.
That's true, bro. And so when people, a lot of times, so Zach jokes, he's like, dude, everyone's so afraid to talk to you because I'm an intense dude. Like I got a lot of I got a lot of fucking energy. You know what I'm saying? You
Six
see me
six.
even in person, I'm fucking like like all the fucking time. So when people hear me and I'm talking about being a lazy piece of shit, don't be a lazy piece of shit. Sit on the couch, fucking eat some Cheetos and watch. I'm talking about myself because that's
Yeah.
what I want to do. That's I'm defeating the weak part of me, right? I'm not talking about anyone else, but that's what's helped me is like to identify it. It's like it's just dude. I've listened to Goggins' book, both of his Can't Hurt Me and Never Finish. I've listened to both of them like 4 times this year, just back to back to back to back, going back and forth, right? Because I listen to audiobooks a lot while I'm on my outdoor cardio. So it's like the fucking accountability mirror. Me identifying it takes the power away where I'm just like, hey, I know by identifying it how fucking useless and lazy and when weak that is. I don't want to be that way. And I refuse to be that way. So now it motivates me to push harder. It motivates me to stay consistent in my stuff and be very disciplined in everything that I'm doing.
Yeah, and
So
that's the biggest issue people have is you have Jordan Peterson who said, if you want to know what's wrong with your life and how to fix it, go sit on your bed, close your eyes, and think. You will get that answer. You may not like it, but you'll get it. And
yeah,
that it took me forever to look in the mirror and be like, you think you're this, you think you're that, but what does your actions say? Like I know that I'm good at what I do. I know I'm strong. I know that I'm I'm better at most things than most people. So like if I started a job in a week, I basically knew the system. In 2 weeks, I'm like, how can we make the company make more money? How can I make this process faster? And I was like, okay, I am all those things, but I'm not applying myself. So it doesn't matter. Like I still suck. So it's time for me to grow up, look in the mirror and say like, say who you are, but actually be who you say you are. And that goes back to my kids. Like, man, if I look in the mirror and my kids, and I've noticed this recently, I feel bad. My 14-year-old girl, she kind of talks back a little bit, but I realized once again, this isn't bad parenting. I just sat down and said, why does she talk back? Reverse engineer. It's because I exaggerated a lot of stuff whenever she was young. Like, oh yeah, I'm a superhero. I knew that, or I could pick that up. So it was always like me being just exaggerating
be
everything that she thought
playful.
that I would. Yeah, she thought I was like a super or lying about everything or superhero. Like, oh, but I see your flaws and I have that self-respect talk too. You see my flaws, you see your mom's flaws. So whenever we talk about something, you're like, no, you're this, you're that. Versus someone at school, when you see a teacher, you see none of their flaws. You see what they want you to see. So whenever they say something, you respect it. When you see me, you don't respect it. She looks around for a little bit, but gets mad and stomps off. But hey, that afternoon, best kid in the world for like 6 hours.
Yeah,
So like my entrepreneur journey also is rubbing off on my kids in the sense of like, hey, I get it. You think you're one way and you think the world is one way, but you really have no clue. Like, there's a word for it. Man, it's gonna pop in my head the second we get off here. But like, you think you know what other people have done to get where they're at until you live in their shoes and you realize that they are the same playing field as you are. Like Andy Frisella talks about it all the time. You don't think I'm lazy? You don't think I can just sit around and eat chips all day and not show up to work, not work out? I was 400 pounds at one point. Like I can do exactly what you're doing, and there's nothing special about me. I just grabbed my nuts one day and said, "Let's go," and that's literally all it takes. Just
yeah.
one moment.
It takes it's that one moment. It's that decision. It's the true decision to be like, all right, enough's enough. because I had the same moment, and I had it once on 75 hard. I was like, all right, I'm not doing this shit anymore.
I remember my moment plain as day. I
Yeah.
was sitting not here, but where my couch was, and I had my Xbox on. I was a nerd for Call of Duty. Had my Xbox on, threw my headset on, my feet are kicked up, and I'm just like gaming away. Whereas this girl that I always played with, girl, woman, she's like 40, she had 5 kids, always complaining. This kid's having this problem. This stepdad's having this problem. And one day I was like, holy crap, dude, this negativity is killing me. What am I doing? So I unplugged it. In the middle of the game, I unplugged my system, my controller, I threw it in a drawer. I took my TV off the wall that I played on, I put it in the shop, and I was like, what am I doing with my life? Boom, next day, 75 hard, life insurance. Like it literally just snapped. It wasn't like oh, I'm tired. I think I'm gonna slowly move into this path. It was like next day changing my life. And I remember it plain as day. I remember the conversations I had. I remember them texting me all the time saying, where are you at? Why'd you jump off that game? I did not talk to a single person for like 100 days other than like Advantage One where we were at.
Yeah. That's nice, bro. I love that. Dustin, thank you for jumping on the podcast with me and having this conversation. This has actually been fun. I got to bring you back again. Like with all my podcast guests, the question I have is you have the opportunity to sit with, break bread with, learn from, have a conversation with any 3 individuals in history. Who would they be and why? Alive or deceased, doesn't matter. 3 people.
Man, you had to break out a philosophical question on a brain dead human. I mean, definitely number one is Jesus. Like, what is the purpose of life and what am I actually supposed to do? Like, that's the biggest thing in religion is like, hey, there's 500 different iterations of the Bible and Christianity. What am I supposed to do? That's number one. Number two, man, that is tough. Let's go with, I'm really conspiracy minded. So I don't know if this is a good answer. So I would say the first dynasty Rothschild, I would like to sit with him and see if he was like demon possessed in what he did and how he screwed with, the education system nowadays, the food, having all the oil products in it. I would just be like, did you do this on accident? Did you do this on purpose? Like number two, man, number three.
That's a good one, actually. I like that one.
And I guess I'd go to religion again, Anton LaVey, see what was wrong with him, see what caused, if he was just a cog in the wheel for the devil or if he was just some psychopath that was hyped on mushrooms all the time.
That's good. I like those. Those are good 3 good ones. I think Jesus would just ask you questions back.
Oh, he would. It's all parables.
You'd
What,
ask a question, and then he would ask a question back, and you'd be like, "What do you think about that?" And just in the end, thinking about it, you'd get the answer.
right. It reminds me of a conversation with my dad. I was like, "How come we're born? Because Jesus made us. How come there's women? Because he took a rib out of your side. How come he did that? How come he did that?" And I was like, now that I think back, I was like, "My dad, poor my dad." But that's
Yeah,
exactly what would happen. He would just ask me 100 questions back.
yeah, definitely, definitely. So thank you so much for jumping on the podcast, my man. This has been the Be the Difference podcast. If you want to reach out to Dustin, because anything that he said that you're like, holy shit, I'm actually interested in this. I want to learn more about this ethical selling and how he does this. Dustin, what's the best place where they can find you?
Probably the best place would be Instagram, Viking Financial Group. I have a YouTube, TikTok, all the social media platforms, but the best way would probably be my Instagram.
Yeah. Okay. Check out Viking Financial. He actually has a dope ass Instagram. You do good content. This has been the Be the Difference podcast. If you could watch till now, then obviously you got some value. Do me a favor, share this content with another person that can also get some value. It takes you 30, 60 seconds to rate, review, subscribe, or share, but means the world to both Dustin and I. This has been the Be the Difference podcast. I'm your host, Greg Birch. Until next time, we'll see you.